Welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200, or go ahead and leave an open mic with any questions inside the WDBO app. You can also check out their website at refreshcomputers.net, or stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and if you're listening to the show here on Saturday, it means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. today. And now, the men themselves, David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, Greg, and thank you, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. Adam, it's great to have you back. You've been absent for the last several shows, not by your choice, but just by circumstance.
Yep.
And appreciate you joining us again. You know, and if you're at the Refresh Computer Store, Adam is usually out on the floor when he's on his days he's working, of course. And ask for him, say hello, and he'll be happy to say hi back. I'm sure.
Definitely.
And so today we're going to talk about Windows 10 to Windows 11 and then to Windows 12. Really? Already?
I know.
So anyhow, there's been a lot of discussion. We've had a lot of discussion right here on this show about the fact that Windows 10 is expiring, right, Adam, in October.
I think it's going to be the 14th. They finally put an actual date, the 14th.
They did? Okay, good. We kept hearing mid-October, so now it is mid-October.
That is mid-October.
October 14th. And so, if you have a Windows 10 machine, you'll need to upgrade to Windows 11 or risk, some very serious security issues on your computer, especially if you're connecting it to the internet. There's still 400 million plus users on Windows 10 today. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of machines. And
that's a lot of machines that are probably going to be e-waste, too, when Windows 10 gets dropped.
Speaking of e-waste, we do computer and laptop recycling right there at Refresh Computers. So if you have an old computer or laptop, or actually if you're upgrading your computer or laptop at Refresh Computers to another one, you can leave your old one with us and we'll responsibly have it recycled. So anyway, back to Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows 12, So first of all, let me just say there's no announced date for Windows 12 yet. Mm-mm. So there's been a lot of talk, a lot of hearsay, a lot of speculation about Windows 12. Is it even going to be Windows 12? Is that what they're going to call it?
Or are we just going to have a Frankenstein Windows 11 for the rest of eternity?
Yeah, and, Microsoft tried that once before because there's speculation that they're going to get rid of the numbering system again. And I say again because, remember, they did that with Vista, and that bombed. That was terrible. They did it with Windows XP. That wasn't a bad operating system.
XP was a fan favorite by hundreds of thousands of people.
It was really good. And then they went to Windows 8 after Vista, or was it Vista after 8? I don't remember.
I think there was 7 somewhere in between there. I do remember a 7.
Well, there's definitely was Windows 7, and that wasn't a bad operating system either.
No.
And Windows 8 just sucked.
Windows 8 was trying to turn your computer into a mobile phone almost with the apps.
They got rid of that. It was so bad they didn't even go to 9. They went straight to 10.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, by mid-October, October 14th, you need to upgrade really, and some of you may already have a Windows 11 capable computer or laptop. Mm-hmm. If you're not sure, give us a call at the store at our free tech support hotline. That's 407-478-8200. We'll let you know if your current machine is Windows 11 capable. And if it is, it's still a free upgrade. It still is a free upgrade. So, we'll help you with that as well. So, Windows 12, there was rumors that it was going to happen last yeyear.
Yeah, 2024, and then I believe there was some emergency update with Windows 11 that pushed it, and everybody said, it'll be 2025, and now we might be even looking at maybe even 2026.
Well, yeah, and because Microsoft has announced a new version of Windows 11, right, for 2025. It's 25H2. and that's expected in September or October.
Yeah, right around the time probably that Windows 10 is going to be dropped, they'll bring out this new version of Windows 11. I think they're trying to push people to say, hey, you know, we're still giving these new updates to Windows 11. Why don't you transition over to that? Because there are a lot of computers, like you said, that can do Windows 11, but some people just prefer to stay on Windows 10.
Right. But, you know, you're going to have to move over.
Yeah,
After October, because you're not going to get those security updates, and there's going to be hackers. There already are hackers waiting for this to happen so they can get into your computer. So Windows 12, we keep saying Windows 12. We're not sure what Microsoft's going to call it. Although, you know, in the tech world, there's speculation that it would be called Windows 12, even though Microsoft has not confirmed that.
It's the easiest assumption, honestly, with the last couple versions now, with them numbering them. It just makes sense for a Windows 12 to come out.
I would think so, although Apple just announced that they're getting rid of their numbering system, or converting their numbering system to the year, I guess, right? And so maybe Microsoft will do something similar with Windows, 12.
Which wouldn't that be like a throwback for Microsoft to go back to going to naming by the year 95, 98, 2000?
That's right. Yeah, because they did it before.
Now, the moment, though, they hit, 2020 or 2098 and they've got another Windows 98 on their hands, then
like
everything's
Y2K all
confusing.
over again.
Well, yeah, and then, the big difference, too, between Microsoft and Apple numbering their operating systems by the year is Apple will always be current. So, the operating system 25 will be the year 25.
Yeah.
Microsoft, if you use Office, if you use, in their older Windows days, Windows 98 was around for several years.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of confusing at that point.
So, what year is it? 2002. What operating system? 98. So hopefully if Windows, and I don't see Microsoft doing an annual update
I can't see it either, just because of how they've done updates in the past now with Windows. It would almost feel kind of wrong to have a new Windows version every single year.
It would be, and let's be very clear though, they do several updates throughout the year. They just don't change the number.
Yeah. They have their Windows 11 version, and then they have whatever technical version that they're having, like 25H2 that's going to be coming out.
If that's not confusing, I hope.
To most ever regular users that don't need to know all this technical like mumbo jumbo, Windows 11, that's all you really need to know with your computer.
That's true. That's all you really need to know. And the speculation in the tech world also is in the next numbered version by Microsoft, if they call it Windows 12, is the fact that if you're on a Windows 11 machine today, which would be an 8th generation processor or newer, that you would be able to upgrade to Windows 12 if it did come out.
And that's the wishful hope of it. After seeing what they did from Windows 10 to Windows 11, it's hard to know what you can and can't trust or assume with Microsoft, because they could push it and say, well, now only 10th generation processors support Windows 12. We don't really know all of that right now.
Yeah. And the earliest speculative release of Windows 12 would be the fall of 2025. So that would be this year.
Yeah.
But 2027 is also mentioned. So we'll
I feel like
see.
that'd be a pretty big cluster to try and get everybody to move over from Windows 10 into 11 and release a new Windows version at the same time. I feel like that would be a pretty tall task for Windows to try and achieve, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And one of the things, hardware wise, that probably would be required if you want Windows 12, well, not required, probably suggested, I guess, if you have one, it would be the new NPUs, they call. They have CPUs, which are central processing units, GPUs, which are graphical processing units that runs your video. Now they have NPUs, which are neural processing units. And the NPUs are used for AI stuff.
Yeah,
right.
A lot of GPUs actually are starting to have NPU clusters on them as well. GPUs are actually starting to utilize a lot more of AI generation rather than just hardware generation of the actual frames for your computer.
Yeah, and the like NVIDIA, for example, they use obviously GPUs, graphical processing units on their cards. That's what makes NVIDIA, right?
Yeah. That's their staple now. You hear NVIDIA, the first thing you think of is their AI empire that they're building.
Why their stock has grown so quickly over the last 2 years.
That's right. And that's based on mostly GPUs, not NPUs.
Yeah.
So, so the other requirements for Windows 11, which will probably roll over to Windows 12, is the fact that you have TPM 2.0, which is a security chip on every motherboard that's 8th generation or newer, and regardless of the processor that's on it. And that little chip actually will make sure that it kind of acts like the way Apple does right now with their lock, Apple Cloud Lock. It allows organizations to cloud lock the computer or laptop easier.
Gives it a little bit more security, which I know that was the major focus with Windows 11 was security. That was their main thing that everybody was hoping for, that, this would be the best and the last operating system. Kind of what they wanted to do with Windows 10. They wanted it to be the last Windows.
They did. Yeah. They wanted it. And so just like, they did with Office, which is also kind of confusing because now it was Office by the year, right? And then it was Office 365, which was the online version. But now they decided to change it to Microsoft 365. So, but it's all still Office to me.
And they're starting to rope, I think, the Copilot name into it now as somewhere.
That's the Microsoft Office 365 Copilot.
Yeah,
something like that, or Copilot 365.
Confusing to say the least.
But for the novice user, it's Excel, it's Word, it's PowerPoint, Outlook for email. So other requirements to upgrade your computer to, or what the techies are saying anyway, that Microsoft will probably require for Windows 12 computers, if that's what they end up calling it, is that, right now you only need 4 gig of RAM for Windows 11.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know how a computer works off of 4 gig of RAM.
I'm not sure either.
Windows 11.
Eight seems kind of be the comfortable medium for it.
8's not bad, but 16 is best. So, 16 gig of RAM will allow you to have more tabs in your Chrome browser open without bogging down your computer.
Yeah.
And things like that. It'll actually help process video a little bit faster over 8 gig because, video uses, if you don't have a graphics card, the video will use a lot of your memory to process that video.
And Windows 2 actually will take up its own section of RAM just to keep everything loaded and working functionally, smoothly. I think it's about 25% of your total RAM is how much it will always use on its own.
Yeah, kind of dedicated and in order to make sure and prioritize, I guess is a better word, to make sure that Windows is always running smoothly because, if it's not running smoothly, your whole computer's not running good.
I'd rather have a program crash out on me because I run out of RAM instead of Windows entirely.
That's right. So Windows will prioritize a certain amount of your RAM to make sure it's always running. So another thing is storage is with Windows 12, they're probably going to require that you have at least 64 gigabyte, which is still kind of small.
That's really small in today's world.
So it's still, not bad. And, most of the computers we sell at Refresh Computers, the ones that we refurbish, we have a minimum of 256 gig solid state drive. Some might have a 128 gig solid state drive in order to keep the price down on it for people that need just a basic computer. But most of them will have a brand new 256 gig solid state drive in there with. So anyway, the point is any computer you buy today from Refresh Computers that has Windows 11 on it will 99.9% be okay whenever Microsoft comes out with a Windows 12.
And we'll definitely have more news about that as the time goes on and more is released. We'll definitely be talking about it here.
That's right.
And we're just still kind of waiting for Microsoft to make those final decisions, and we'll see how that shakes out here. Coming this fall, again, Windows 10 phased out, Windows 11, maybe Windows 12 coming up soon. You've been listening to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. And if you have any questions, go and leave an open mic inside the WDBO app. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, Greg, and thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. In the previous segment, we talked about Windows 10, Windows 11, and even Windows 12. Anyway, if you missed any of that or you want to hear what we talked about and what's coming in the future with the Windows operating systems, you can listen to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers on our podcast anytime you want. So this show airs in its entirety shortly after the show airs on Saturdays, and you can go to refreshcomputers.net, click on that podcast link, and right there you can listen to this show without commercials. It's about 40-some minutes without commercials and news breaks and all that stuff, and you can listen to previous shows as well. So don't forget that. It's Refresh Computers podcasts at refreshcomputers.net. Click on that podcast link at the top of the page. So, we talked about Windows, and a week or so, Adam, we talked about, or a few weeks ago, we talked about Apple,
yes,
right, with all their updates coming. And, there's another manufacturer out there that's pretty prevalent in the digital world. And
one that I prefer to use, whereas you prefer to use Apple.
That's right. and so, it's Samsung, of course. And, so all of you Samsung users, they use, what's the operating system?
Android.
See, I knew you would know that. So, of course, Android is a very popular operating system as well. And what's the one that Samsung uses? Yeah. And it's made by Google.
Yes.
And so Samsung is actually going to be hosting one of their they call it Galaxy Unpacked.
Yeah,
right.
Because their whole Galaxy line, that's their name for all of their devices now. Pretty much, is Galaxy.
All their handhelds. Yeah. Or actually, make some laptops with the Galaxy name.
Yeah,
I think
if I remember
some smaller
correctly.
laptops. And I know they make tablets, the Galaxy tablets, and the phones.
Yeah,
right?
Smartphones, and they're folding phones. That's been their main thing the last couple of years now, and that's kind of what this next event's going to be about, is to showcase the new fold and flip 7s.
I don't know. I've seen those foldable phones, and I don't know. Like the foldable screen is, when we say foldable, I think of the flip phones, but no, it's not. It's actually the whole screen folds.
And it is crazy because I used to have a Galaxy Z Fold, which was the one that was kind of a book style.
Yeah.
And that one I had absolutely no problems with.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, opening and closing. Sooner or later, the screen doesn't just have a crease in the middle.
And I was worried about that for mine, and I never opened and closed it enough because it still has a front screen you can use. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. But my fiance actually had the counterpart of it, which is the flip. And hers actually, the old models used to form a bubble where that crease was. And this new model is actually supposed to eliminate that bubble entirely.
So was the flip like the original one? And so they figured out what they did wrong.
They've made some revisions now to make them more durable. It's hard to say because it's got kind of a plastic screen almost where it folds, but it is durable.
That's crazy. I still don't trust it. I'm sorry.
You're seeing a lot of that technology going into almost like televisions now too, with the flexible screens and things like that. So it's interesting to see how it just keeps developing and developing.
Years ago, I read about Samsung working on a screen that you unfold. I mean, it rolls up like a roll, like a roll of paper, and you just unroll it. And I don't know how you attach it to the wall with like thumbtacks or something, but probably not.
That'd be a weird feeling putting thumbtacks through my screen.
And the connections, how do you connect to it? Because, it's got to have something that's a little bulky, right? For connectivity.
There, right? And you try and figure out exactly, how are you going to plug in your HDMI cable to it? Is it all going to be just wireless or?
Yeah. Now the screens have gotten so thin to the point where they can be folding these connectors that are, hundreds of times the thickness of this screen.
I know.
It's hard to imagine how you can work with them.
So I guess somebody's developing the flat connectors because they do have flat cables, but the connection still, I don't know. I have to come up with a new connectivity.
Have you used any of these flip phones? Let us know. Go ahead and use the open mic feature inside the WDBO app. We'd love to hear about your experiences with those devices. You've been listening to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Or if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave an open mic inside the WDBO app. You can also check out the website over at refreshcomputers.net or stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if you're listening to the show here on Saturday, that means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. This segment, we like to talk about a lot of the deals, not all of the deals, because we have so many at Refresh Computers. And you can check out these deals by going to our website at refreshcomputers.net. And you can type in and search for these models as I mentioned them, and you'll be able to find them right there on the website. You can purchase them right there. You can indicate that you're going to pick them up in the store. You can have them shipped anywhere in the continental USA. So we're really proud to be able to have all that ability right there on the website at refreshcomputers.net, or preferably, if you can, if you're in the area, come on by the store, check them out yourself, look at them, touch them, feel them, play with them, get a good feel for, especially the laptops. They come in so many different sizes now, and touchscreen, not touchscreen, and so you're welcome to try them out while you're in the store, and we'll be able to assist you with that as well. So I'm going to call this deal segment Backed by Popular Demand Deals. These are a bunch of deals that we have going on right now that, we run out of these from time to time because they're so popular. Yeah. And they're still very current. So we'll start with the Dell Latitude 5400. It's a 14-inch Windows 11 Pro laptop. It has an i7 processor, 16 gig of RAM, brand new 256 gig solid state drive. These things were around $630. They are 49% off right now at $319.99. So Dell Latitude 5400 for only $319.99. This again is a really nice commercial grade business class, right, Adam?
Oh yeah.
And it's a Latitude laptop from Dell. $319.99, just a great deal for a very professionally refurbished laptop.
And it's a professional feeling laptop too, since these are all their commercial grade models.
Exactly. It's not some cheap plastic flimsy thing.
Exactly.
And so something a little smaller is the Latitude 5310. It is a 13.3-inch laptop. It has also 16 gig of RAM, a brand new 256 gig solid-state drive, Windows 11 Pro. This is a 10th generation processor, a little newer than the 5400 actually. Was $1,000. $399.99, and this is just a really nice looking laptop as well. It is,
yeah.
Then we have the Dell Latitude 3520, and that is a 15.6-inch laptop, which we always talk about them having the
full-size keyboard, the number pad on the right-hand side. This one's actually one of my favorites that we have right now, the 3520.
It's great because it's an 11th gen processor. It's an i5, but the difference between i5 and i7, I always say, is how can you tell who blinks their eyes faster?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, for most users, you're not going to notice the difference. Also, 16 gig of RAM, 256 gig solid state drive, Windows 11 Pro. This thing is only $499.99. This is a $1,000 laptop for $500. Very modern, sleek, nice looking Dell Latitude 3520 for $499.99, and these we're selling like hotcakes, and we just got some more in. So those are some of the laptops, and again, don't forget you can check these out at refreshcomputers.net, and you can shop for all of these. You can indicate you can buy them now, pick them up in the store. You can have them shipped anywhere in the continental USA.
And if you have any questions, you can give us a call, again, at that free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200. If you have any questions about it that you see on the website, just let one of our guys know on the phone, and we can give you some more details.
That's right, Adam. And don't forget also that these are all upgradable. So if you want more RAM, if you want a larger solid-state drive, we have all this stuff in stock right there at the store. Bring your old computer or laptop with you, right? And we'll transfer the data for you. Usually while you wait, it depends on how much data you have,
how much there is, and more importantly, right now, the age of the machine, because older machines sometimes do take longer to transfer off of.
Especially if you have an old mechanical hard drive.
Yes,
those take longer to get the data off of, right? Because they just run like 10 times slower than the solid state drives. So those were some laptops. Now I want to talk about a few desktops that are really popular in the store right now. We have the HP Elite Desk 800. And when you hear the word Elite Desk from HP, what does that mean?
Business class model.
That's right. Upgraded power supply, upgraded motherboard, everything in this machine is solid, and it will last you a long time. Again, everything I'm mentioning right now, a good 6 to 8 year computers or laptops. So it has an i5 processor, 16 gig of RAM, brand new, 256 gig solid state drive, Windows 11 Pro. This thing is only $249.99. These sell a lot.
They do. These are one of the best-selling desktop computers that we have right now.
And we have a lot of businesses buying these as well.
We do, yeah.
Although they work just fine in your home.
Yeah. They're perfect for any application you can really put them for.
Just about, yeah.
This is one of those workhorse ones.
This is a workhorse.
It is, yeah.
You put it away, you put it somewhere that you don't even think about, and it just keeps on going. You can keep it running. This is one of the ones that you actually recommend for warehouse use, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a business class, heavy duty. You know, it's an always on computer. This is one of those computers that
you find in like they're running like ATMs, running 24/7. So it's crazy to really think about that.
Just running all the time. So not that you have to leave it on all the time if you don't want to, but if you do, hey,
I don't think it'll complain if you shut it down at night.
No, it won't. It won't. So then let's talk about a Dell Optiplex 3070. So this is also an i5 processor, also with 16 gig of RAM, also with the 256 gig solid state drive, Windows 11 Pro. This thing is just $269.99, and this is another desktop, small form factor, so it's about 13 inches by 13 inches by about 3.5 inches wide, and this is another good warehouse computer, or home computer if you want, and so that's the Dell Optiplex 3070. Backed by super popular demand, though, is the next one. The Optiplex 7060.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that any customers I've had that come in saying, "Hey, I know what computer I want to get." It's always been the 7060.
It's just a really, really great. It's a staple.
It is,
from Dell. The Optiplex 7060. It's the computer that businesses like the Fun Spot, right? They focus on this computer when they need to buy new computers for their business, and we ship these all over the country for them. They have more locations than just right here in Central Florida.
It's one of those ones that's easy to ship too because of the small form factor of it.
Yeah. Small form factor, but still heavy duty power supply, heavy duty motherboard, and again, professionally refurbished. It's $269.99 by the way, down from $650. 16 gig of RAM. Brand new 256 gig solid state drive. And let's take a minute, Adam, and talk about what goes into a refurbished computer at Refresh Computers, because one of the things that just I don't understand, somebody, I actually had a customer said, "Oh, I found it on eBay for $100 less," and I'm like, okay, but how's the battery in that laptop?
How's the internals of it? Is it clean? Is it dusty?
Is it really refurbished?
Yeah.
And you don't know.
Yeah, it's more than just a wipe down with a baby wipe.
What kind of power supply are you going to get with it?
Yeah.
Is it a genuine manufacturer's power supply with that laptop like you get at Refresh Computers? And, if you have a battery issue with the laptop you buy on eBay, what are you going to do?
Exactly, yeah.
They're not going to guarantee it. And, it's going to cost you $100 probably in parts and labor just to get the battery replaced. So anyhow, that's one of the things you never have to worry about at Refresh Computers with our quality refurbished computers. And so we put brand new thermal paste.
That's one of the most important things is the thermal paste.
On the CPU, because that ensures that it's going to run cool. And a cool running computer or laptop is a very cool thing.
It lasts faster. The way to think about it's like if you're running your car without a radiator, without your coolant going through it, that engine's going to kick off really fast.
It's going to bog down, and so a cool computer is essential. That's why we put brand new thermal paste, and it's a process to do that.
It is, yeah. It's not as easy as just wipe off the old and put on the new. Sometimes
no, because you have to take things apart, but we go through all that at Refresh Computers because we don't want you bringing that thing back in a year or two even and saying, hey, this thing's overheating. Why? Because thermal paste will crust up over time.
Yeah.
And it does need to be, it's almost like an oil change. You do need to rethermal your CPUs every several years. Every probably 3, 4, 5 years or so. Putting new thermal paste on a computer is essential to keep it running cool.
I see this one on the tech forums all the time. What kind of pattern is your favorite for that? When you go to add the new thermal paste, what's your favorite pattern on the back of the processor?
Yeah.
What do you guys do on the back there?
So think of a die, like you're rolling the dice, right? The number 5 on a dice. That's not a bad pattern. So you kind of hit 4 corners and the spot in the middle. That
gives you perfect squish. What it's always called, is the squish of it.
That's
Whereas
right.
the dot with smaller processors used to work because it would squish and cover the whole thing. Now processors have actually gotten a little bit larger. The dot in the middle isn't sufficient anymore.
So we like to do either the Zorro method, the Z, or the 5 dots.
Yeah.
And it'll when you reattach the cooler, what am I thinking? The block, the aluminum
the
block.
heatsink.
The heatsink.
Yeah.
Thanks. Lost it there for a second. When you reattach the heatsink, it kind of squishes down and spreads it all out.
Yeah.
And it works very well.
And the heat sinks are kind of designed to give some pressure mounting too.
Yeah, they are.
So they can kind of form almost a seal with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true too. And so you get the new thermal paste. You get a new CMOS battery.
And I saw a situation where a CMOS battery died just the other day, and it caused the computer to be inoperable on every reboot because it was trying to boot off of the wrong source. It lost its setting, so it didn't know how it was supposed to start, basically.
So the CMOS battery does a few things, right? It keeps the time and date current on your computer or laptop. If you've ever set the time and date on your computer or laptop and wonder how does it remember, it's because of the CMOS battery that's on there. But the other thing is like you said, Adam, it remembers it helps your BIOS and helps things remember the settings that they're set to, and which can be disrupted if the CMOS battery is dead or goes dead.
And these CMOS batteries, they have to be replaced, I believe, every, what do you say, 6 to 8 years probably?
Probably, at least.
Yeah.
It depends on, how often you use your computer. And the other thing is we just remove the old CMOS batteries.
We don't even test them.
Don't even bother trying to test them, because we want to put a brand new one in every computer. So you're not going to have an issue with that. You're not going to get that on a computer that you bought off eBay or something like that. So, you get a quality refurbished computer at Refresh Computers, and that's for sure. So you got the new thermal paste, you got the CMOS battery.
You get a very good cleaning of it. There's no dust or anything clogging the fans.
Inside and out, everything is cleaned very, very well. And you get the tested memory, everything is tested, CPU, memory.
The brand new solid state drive, that's an important one.
That makes it like new.
Yeah.
So anyhow, check these deals out, folks, at refreshcomputers.net. and you'll be able to get a good quality refurbished computer or laptop. It's my guarantee. So we'll hope to see you in the store soon too.
And that includes all the great accessories that you guys carry in the shop as well. So if you're shopping for any of that, Refresh Computers is your one-stop shop. You've been listening to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200 or check out the website at refreshcomputers.net. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. So this segment, we like to talk about businesses who have done business with Refresh Computers and maybe expand a little bit on some of our offerings as well while we're at it. So this past week or so, we had Commercial Metal Plastics and Graphics come in. They purchased one of our Dell Optiplex 7060 desktop computers, the one that we featured in our deals segment just a few minutes ago.
One of the very popular ones that we've got.
True. And they also purchased a 3-year extended warranty on this machine. You know, we have several warranty options at the computers that you buy at Refresh Computers. First of all, every computer comes with a 90-day guarantee warranty.
That's default. That is coming with it no matter what you buy, what laptop or desktop.
That's right. So it covers batteries and laptops. It covers, everything basically physically, everything but something that you would damage yourself.
Yeah.
So
drops or liquid damage.
Right.
The normals.
Does not cover liquid damage or if you spill your cup of coffee in your laptop keyboard, that's not covered.
Yeah.
And also, if you drop it and it's broken, of course that's not covered, but we do cover our workmanship and the components inside all of our computers and laptops for 90 days. But if you want a annual or 1 year 1 year warranty, they start at about $40, $39.99, and it gets you an additional 12 months.
Yeah, it stacks on top of the 3 months, so you get actually 15 out of that 1 year warranty.
That's right. So a very reasonable price. And again, for that, it covers things like laptop batteries and things like that, which would probably be one of the more common warranty items, right? And so, just to replace the laptop battery, I mentioned earlier, it could cost around $100 by the time you got the battery and the labor. So the $39.99 is a really good deal for 1 year warranty for that, and those are typically on machines that are less than $500. For machines that are over $500, that price is about $59.99 for 1 year. It covers your screens on laptops that if they go bad, of course not cracked screens, that's not covered.
But if it just stops turning on one day when you open it up and screen's just black or you can barely see the image.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they also bought one of these Wi-Fi adapters. I always brag about the USB Wi-Fi adapter for $19.99. You just can't beat it.
It's so simple. It really is. You just plug it in and the computer has Wi-Fi.
Every computer, almost every computer, I'll say. I mean, the chances are 99% that you plug in this Wi-Fi adapter on a computer that does not have Wi-Fi, it just almost instantaneously, you'll see the little globe in the lower right-hand corner that you can click on and connect to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's just that fast.
And I've had these save me before with working on computers that have lost its ability to connect to the internet, and I need to connect to the internet to get the updates to be able to connect to the internet.
That's right.
This Wi-Fi adapter is a lifesaver.
For $20, $19.99. We sell tons of these. So back to some of the customers that visited us last week. We had RCP LLC. They purchased one of our Elite Desk 800 systems that we also featured in our previous segment. We had Freedom Cleaning Solutions LLC. They purchased a Dell Precision 7530 workstation laptop, which that's a sweet
It is a nice laptop, yeah. The whole Precision line are great laptops.
So Latitude is Dell's business class.
Yeah.
So Precision is their ultimate business class, I guess is the best way I
So
can
they're
put it.
pinky up business class. I got you.
That's right. We also had this past week CTC Property Research. They brought in a laptop of theirs for a screen repair. And we do all kinds of repairs, just about every kind of repair on a laptop that you can imagine, including replacing screens that are broken. We do this all the time. We have the best board level tech, screen replacement tech there is on the planet.
One of the smartest guys I've ever met.
He is awesome. His name is Norwell. So he's just a great, great guy. So listen, everybody, thanks for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. We're out of time. This is David Leavitt, owner and founder. Don't forget that free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200, and we'll be talking to you again next week.